I watched Bo Nix twice live in college. He's cut. He's fat. He's fast.
Yeah.
When you watched all his tape, my take is we don't watch Denver as much as we watch those NFC East teams, and people just don't realize how good of an athlete he is. When you look at Bo Nix rookie tape, what are people missing about him? Because his numbers were better than Jaden in many instances.
I think what people miss, and I would say I probably missed it to some degree as well when I did his college tape, even though I liked him, is I think his arm is better than people gave it credit for. And when I say arm strength, I'm not talking about the ability to throw the ball 60 or 70 yards. I'm talking about the ability to stick throws in the middle of the field, dig balls, 18 to 22 yards in breaking routes between and over defenders. He threw the ball really, really well. Those are really arm strength throws, those kinds of throws. And I think that he throws the ball a lot better than people give him credit for. Now, I think there's clearly some things that he has to work on. I'm sure Sean Payton would tell you that. He's only going into his second year. But I think just in terms of sheer physical traits as a passer, he's a lot better than he's been given credit for. And you've probably been around him. He's a pretty big kid, Colin. He's not a small guy, and he's a very good athlete.
Yeah, very, very good athlete. I noticed that when I went to the Utah-Oregon game and I sat behind the bench, and he is ripped. I mean, he's not trying to show off. He is just cut. Very little body fat.
Okay. First off, if you're not watching the Denver Broncos and Nix, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I understand watching like the Commanders and Eagles. Like, I get that. But if you're like, what are you watching? The New York Giants. Like, what are we doing here? That is the tough part about football. You really do have to kind of go out of your way to try to find these games, because you're kind of at the mercy of your local market. So I get it. But these days now, with being able to, what is it, like NFL Plus or NFL Prime, whatever the heck it's called, you have access to online. You get such extended highlights now. There, it's no longer just like a, minute 30 seconds of highlights. You can find like 20, 30, 40-minute highlight reels and stuff like released by NFL and stuff. So it's all there for you. You can get the gist of it, but it is an interesting concept that so many people make opinions about various players and teams based on so little. And when I very first started doing this, so many people would say a common comment that I would hear, and it wasn't about me. It was just like them commenting in general, like, oh, so-and-so clearly doesn't watch games. And some people did say that to me in the beginning. It was something about like it was about the Miami Dolphins. One of the first times someone's like, you don't watch any Miami Dolphins games. And I was like, yes, I do. Like, what are you talking about? And I get that a lot less now. But it was like I used to see that again a little bit about me, but definitely about usually like some of the other people that I was making clips about. And it did become interesting to me the more and more I made, the more and more videos that I made, and I did have that aha moment where I was like, you know what? Like, so many people are just, they don't have the time, they don't have the money, they don't have the energy. They're not going to watch all these games. It's a lot of games, and usually you're just trying to watch your team, and maybe you'll watch Sunday Night Football. You might not even watch the whole thing, right? Like, you might go on and off, on and off. People got lives, and I get that. I dedicate a tremendous amount of time to watching all these games and trying to put it all into context and stuff, but they rely on these shows to tell them what's up. If I'm not watching Jacksonville Jaguars games, I don't know how good Trevor Lawrence is. So I rely on Greg Cosell, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, all the networks to tell me, like, how good is he? What is he doing? Like, I didn't get to see that game against the Panthers. That was a big comeback. Like, and it was a great game. He showed poise in the pocket and, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you got to kind of tell me. And it is interesting to see people just either straight up make up stuff or they're just repeating whatever someone else said on TV. And this was so obvious with, ironically, both Bo Nix and Jane Daniels. I mean, it was just the most glaringly obvious, like the claims and the statements that people were making. And again, these are two quarterbacks that I'm watching every single game so intently because I believe in both these quarterbacks and I'm taking all the notes I can and I'm watching so intently. And so to have someone be like Jane Daniels doesn't know how to read defenses. And I'm like, well, that's not even all he does is run. And I'm like, that's not even close. Like that's not even close to being accurate. Like no one could even remotely, like if you watch even just one game, you couldn't even remotely reach that conclusion. Nick can't throw. He has no arm. He looks lost out there. And it's just like, wait, what? Wait, what? Or Greg Jennings said this. He's like, oh, he doesn't do a lot. He doesn't jump off the screen from a MO, from a mobility standpoint. I'm like, I mean, like, again, I can see the argument when we're comparing him to like a Lamar Jackson and a Josh Allen who are just athletic monsters. And so I get that, but like that can't always be the comp, right? Right? You can't be you're either the quarterback who can just literally just barrel through people like Josh Allen, or you're the quarterback who can run up and down the field 15 times, like Lamar Jackson, and not get caught, like he's playing with a bunch of kids out there, or there's nothing else jumps off the screen and no one. And it's just like, that's not true. And so, what's the biggest thing that I think people miss about Bo Nix is that he can do everything. He could do everything. I do not look at a quarterback. I do not look at Bo Nix and say, here are some things that I think Sean Payton is going to have to work around. To be clear, I'm not saying that he's elite at everything or that he's special or that he's even great right now at everything, but he can do everything. I do not see a limitation in his game where you're just like, that's always going to be tough. I don't know, man. It's going to take some time for this, that he was always leaving the pocket too soon. I just don't know if he can really ever really hit outside the numbers at a a good enough Raider. Like none of that. It's like I just see a quarterback who can do a little bit. That's why I keep saying he's Josh Allen light to me. I don't know if he'll ever reach the levels of Josh Allen because Josh Allen, like I said, is an athletic monster. And so just, unless you're, what is he, 6'5", whatever. I mean, like Josh Allen is a true monster. But I mean, like, I think you could see a variation of that with Bo Nix. And he certainly has a better coach than Josh Allen has ever had, and Sean Payton. That's pretty good. I mean, you can make the argument that you'll win more and be more successful if you have 85% of Josh Allen's skill set, but a significantly better coach. I mean, I think that's probably true, like almost all the time, depending on how great the coach is, that you will win more and have a more successful career than if you are 100% someone like a Josh Down. But they just like can't get the coaching right, or they can't get the team right. And then that's also the problem when you don't have the coach right. Even if they're still a really good coach, they often struggle with personnel and understanding what do I need, or when it's okay for me to say, I'm good on offense. I can pull the strings here. We need to go all in on defense. Pretty much like Sean Payton did, where he's just like, listen, spend some money in free agency on defense. We're going to be able to do some stuff offensively. We're going to draft, like, make no mistake about it, it's Sean Payton pulling those strings. And so I'm going to have more confidence that over the years Sean Payton will build downplaying and sleeping on Bix. Like, I still am not really hearing the correct conversations about what Bo has done and what he's achieved. Better teams, and so that's the biggest benefit that a Bo Nix has. Not to mention, little by little, he's obviously going to get better and better and better and better. So this is such like an overused expression. People are sleeping on blank, people are sleeping on B, people are sleeping on the Broncos. Like pretty much every fan base says that, like spoiler alert, like literally every fan base says that. People are sleeping on the Chiefs. No one's sleeping on the Chiefs. They talk about him every single sleeping on Lamar. Nobody's sleeping on Lamar. What are you guys talking about? Like I see every fan base, like the only fan base that anyone could say that now is really like the Jacksonville Jaguars or something, or the Atlanta Falcons. Like they probably have the best argument if they end up being good, that people are sleeping on them. But I would say that people are legitimately. And when you have someone like Nick Wright comparing him to like Mac Jones, in which I obviously completely disarmed and disputed, But like the fact that can even be a take that people can kind of just like kind of go along with and be like, that's funny or that's interesting and not an automatic, like, what are you talking about? That is insane, really goes to show you what the general consensus is. And Colin will have a better idea of how many, what games people are talking about and who's watching what. Um, and I do think it's fair to say that maybe like the average Joe's not like, I want to go watch Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, but they certainly should. They certainly should. And I think the Broncos are also just going up against the new wave of fans that were introduced to the NFL and became fans because of Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Every time you get such a great team and a great quarterback, you're always going to bring in new fans and whatnot. And so, by virtue, they're not going to like the Denver Broncos and they're going to constantly downplay the Denver Broncos. And you're talking about fans now that have been watching football for like 5, 6, 7 years. Like they don't really even know what they're talking about in the first place. So yeah, I think that that's a part of the general thing because I've already talked about it from a media perspective, like over these months about why I think the Broncos kind of get some interesting media attention or lack thereof. But I think you see similar fan phenomenons as well. But I'm excited, man. There's been so much Denver Broncos content. It's been great. Like I said in one of my previous videos, it was so brutal to try to create Denver Broncos stuff last summer, like last off season is on. And last season, I make the joke that it was just like Colin or Nick or any of these shows, they would just say like 2 sentences about the Broncos in between segments or on a completely different segment. And then I would have to like turn that into like a 20-minute video, right? Like they would talk about the Broncos for like 10 seconds and I would like have to turn it into my own 20-minute video and now we're just flushed with more and more Broncos content and it's just like, it's good, man. It's good. Makes my life a lot easier. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Bo Nix Denver Broncos? What do you think the one thing is that people are missing about Bo Nix? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.